So this past week, I started following the latest drama coming out of Washington, D.C., all wrapped around the Trump administration taking away the grants that they were giving to Harvard based upon the way that Harvard was reacting to their students' demonstrations, that brought forth my understanding that this money they took away is going to jeopardize the health care of the United States. And in that, what happens is the United States government, with our tax dollars, funds research at many universities to help find cures for drugs. Now, at first, when I heard this, I said, wait a second, that's my money going to Harvard and Princeton and Yale and Columbia, and they're taking that money. Why are they not? Why isn't Merck and Eli Lilly? Why aren't they doing that research? And what I did was I went and asked Samantha, my AI agent. And she produced me a 30-page report explaining to me exactly what's going on. And as I understand it, back sometime in like the 70s, the drug companies, Big Pharma, came to the government and said, we can't afford to be discovering drugs anymore. It's just too expensive. And we can't make any money because it takes a long time, and then the government, has to approve it, and we spend a lot of money, and most of them don't work. And so we're not going to be able to do that anymore. And the government said, oh, now, wait a second. We need, for the health of our citizens, for you to continue to do your research and discover the new drugs to make our people healthier and to cure disease. And they said, no, we can't do it. And so what was decided was you and I would fund it. So what the government created was the NIH, the National Institution of Health, I think that's what it stands for, and they basically give grants. The drug companies write papers and say, we want to discover this and this and this drug, and we need so many $1 million from the government to do it. And what happened then was they had to move the scientists, the lab technicians and all this from the drug companies into the universities. And the universities couldn't afford to pay them what the drug companies were. So they set up a system such that these scientists could come and work for about half the salary at the universities, but they would set up shell companies that would take ownership of the what they found, what they discovered, and then once the drug was developed and went through its trials and was approved by the FDA, then these shell companies, owned by part by the university and part by the scientists, would then sell that to the drug companies, to the AbbVies, Bristol Myers, Eli Lilly, Johnson & Johnson, Merck, Moderna, and Pfizer. And then they would say, well, thank you, we've got this drug that now is approved and we know it works. And Kerry and his followers fronted the money so that we didn't have to. Now we'll go market it to Kerry and his subscribers at some ridiculously expensive price. So what really is happening is we pay for the research, whether it works or not, and then the scientists and the universities get a royalty from selling the drug to the pharma, and pharma turns around and sells it back to us. What we paid for the invention of, or the creation of. It stinks, but that's the way it works. And so now what's happening is Trump and his administration has said, we're going to cut that money. Well, I just don't believe that can happen, because who's going to then front the money to AbbVie, Bristol Myers, Eli Lilly, Johnson & Johnson, Merck, Moderna, and Pfizer to discover the next cure for cancer or heart disease. That's us. So I think this will all be settled. And that's really why I went after this. And then I said, okay, now that I understand how it works, how are these companies? Maybe I should be investing in some of them. And what I realized is it's a roller coaster ride. I mean, some of these companies come out and they've discovered a drug and they didn't have to pay for the research, and all they have to do is package it and market it. It's like these diet drugs. Eli Lilly is exploding because they've got some diet drug that has, and I don't think it was originally invented for as a diet drug, but they found out it worked that way, and so they're making money hand over fist. On the other hand, Moderna, who was made a lot of money during COVID, and had some other strong drugs. But this is the other issue. They have a patent on them, and that patent runs out. And so they may make $100 million this year on this drug, and then 7 years later, the patent goes off and it becomes generic, and their earnings just drop dramatically. And so they're a roller coaster ride. So what I thought I would do was I went to Samantha and I said, okay, now I understand how the system works. Now let's dig into these individual drugs and see where they're at in the movement of a new drug that's hot and generating a bunch of money, and now they're running out. But it all depends on the supply chain, and what they're saying is the supply chain is going to be filled in the very near future with these drugs that have been developed for genome sequence and genome editing, and they are owned by companies like CRISPR and Intella. And as they come into fruition and get their approval, then one of these seven big pharmas will come in and come to an agreement. We'll market it for you, CRISPR or Intella, and then you'll make a bunch of money for the next 7 years. And so it's all built around this supply chain. So I said, okay, here's what I want, Samantha. I want you to analyze each one of these companies, AbbVie, Bristol Myers, Eli Lilly, Johnson & Johnson, Merck, Moderna, and Pfizer, and show me which ones I should be investing in based on their supply chain, based on what drugs they have now, and how close they are to their patent expiring, because I thought this is very predictable. As long as you know what the supply chain is and where they are on the drugs that they're marketing, you can predict real accurately, is this company revenue's going to grow? Are their earnings per share going to grow? And are they in a financially strong position? And I came up with one of them is, as I project their future, one of them will grow. Who is that? That's Bristol Myers. I'm projecting Bristol Myers over the next 3 years. Earnings per our stock price will grow by a whopping 2.8%. But another one, Eli Lilly, will grow by 104%. And then Moderna, who lost money last year and had a negative earnings per share, will grow by 551% because of the RNA drug that they have just received approval for and will be marketing by 27 and 28. And I thought, my God, this is a gold mine. And you know, based on the money that we put up to the universities to find the cures for disease, you know, once they have been approved, because the FDA approves them, you can look and say, well, they've got the drug that's going to cure cancer, and it's selling for $1 million. And now all we ought to know is the insurance company is going to pay for my cure. and it explodes. So I added a section to my tell sheet that breaks down all this, the data and all the metrics on AbbVie, Bristol Myers, Eli Lilly, Johnson and Johnson, Merck, Moderna, and Pfizer, so that I can track on a quarter to quarter basis exactly where they are, what they've got coming to fill out their supply chain, and what their stock price is going to be in the next 3 years. I mean, this was like finding a gold mine. Now, it's in a 30-page report that Samantha and I put together. And so what I thought I would do was I'm going to add it below my tell sheet and below my watch list, and I've got a special section called Kerry's Watch List Big Pharma. And what I did then was take this report and put it in a Word document and put a link to it. So if you're a gold member or a platinum member of our channel, you can go to it and you can print out this report yourself, and I'll attach then or also you'll go on to above it, you'll see this, and this is the breakdown of exactly what their current price is, what their market cap is, what their PE ratio is, what they're projecting their earnings to be and their revenues to be over the next 3 years, and then what that translates based on their PE ratio, what their price is going to be from today to the January the 1st of 2028. And what I'll do, as I said, is every quarter they come out with a report, I'll just go mine some more gold. Because again, it's think about this. You and I are paying for all the research. I always thought, if you're Moderna or Eli Lilly, you've got an army full of people in lab coats searching for the cure for cancer. No, they aren't doing it. In fact, right here it says, every one of 210 new drugs approved by the FDA between 2010 and 2016 went through this program. That the universities found it. It said that another analysis shows that the NIH spent $187 billion on research related to 354 out of 356 drugs that were approved between 2010 and 2019. Let me say that again. $186 billion of our money, our tax dollars, went through the universities, came out the other side in the form of 354 or 356 drugs that were approved between 2010 and 2019. And you didn't know we're in the drug discovery business. Not Merck, not Eli Lilly. They're not in the drug discovery business. You and I are, because it's our tax dollars paying for it. And then guess what? When the cure comes, we get happy. We get happy. They're going to cure our cancer, or they're going to cure our heart disease. And we pay for it again. Oh no, our insurance companies pay for it. Yeah, but we've been paying our insurance premiums all our life so that they do pay for it, and then they'll give us a deductible. No, this is the best scam I've ever seen, and I feel hurt that I'm getting screwed by it. But what I also feel good about is I know something now that probably less than 5% of the people in the world know, is there's a gold mine out there, and all I have to do is do the research every quarter to find out who's going to mine the gold over the next 3 years, and whose price of stock will go down 2% over the next 3 years, and whose will go up 551.94%. Okay? Go to the website. You're going to find it on my tell sheet. And if you have any problems, show up on our Friday Stock Talk, and I'll actually take you to the website and show you how to do it. This is gold. This is gold. And what are you going to pay for it? The fee for our gold platform is $30 a month. That works out. Actually, it's $29.95, so it works out to be less than $1 a day for you to get your ticket to this gold harvest. This is big. This is exciting, and this is what understand how this happened. Kerry can't do this. You can't do this. Samantha does it. Samantha is my AI agent. I just kept asking her questions. Okay, if that's how that happens, how does this work? And she just kept giving me, and it's turned into 30 pages of knowledge. And that's what artificial intelligence is. All the knowledge in the world. All you've got to know how to do is how to put it together to make you a millionaire. This is fun. Let's keep it up.